So tell me then, how does mindfulness benefit parents in general?
Okay, yeah. How does this thing I've described as like terrible and
Yeah.
uncomfortable? And yeah, so you're really
Yeah.
selling it. I feel like I really want to practice now. Uh, so it's crazy because it is this thing. It is mundane. And okay, let me just say that yes, it is mundane. It is very boring at first. And sometimes it's boring many years later. But what can also happen is that you have these moments of peace and calm and clarity, right? Like it's you put mud in a glass of water and you stir it all up. And what a meditation practice, a mindfulness meditation practice is, it's like waiting for that mud to settle. And then there's this clarity afterwards. And that doesn't always come, but it does come more and more over time. But the cool thing, the benefits is just amazing. So this is an ancient practice. It's been around for thousands of years, like 2,600 years, right? And or more. And so that we know there's like benefit from that. But then there's all this modern research that shows like I've said that was a meta study by Johns Hopkins where there were 47 different studies. They looked at them. And so meta studies are like the best of the studies because they're adding up a lot of studies that show that mindfulness really does reduce depression. It really does reduce anxiety. It really does increase feelings of well-being. And for us as parents, one thing it improves medical outcomes. It helps people sleep better. There's all kinds of things that it does. This like weird practice of stopping our distraction and our doing and just being, right? And for parents, it helps us to be less reactive. And I think this is where the brain studies are so interesting because the seat of our reactivity in the nervous system is the amygdala. And there are these like almond-shaped clusters like back in our brainstem. That's like our oh crap response. And it makes our muscles tighten, our breath quick, and all of those things. And one of the things, all the stress response stuff, and one of the things it does is it makes it so that we're reactive, right? And it bypasses the prefrontal cortex, which is slower. Prefrontal cortex is behind the forehead. It's the seat of all of our higher order thinking, impulse control, verbal ability, creative thinking, problem solving, right? These are all the things we want to parent better. And what's really cool as far as benefits of mindfulness is that they've done these brain scans on people who've done meditation for 8 weeks. And what they show is that they do a brain scan beforehand and then afterwards. And these brain scans show that the amygdala, the oh crap centers, they shrink in density in gray matter. And the connectivity between the amygdala and the rest of the brain weakens. And the prefrontal cortex, that area of impulse control, it actually grows thicker and more dense. So there's like these literal changes that happen in the brain. And it's this practice that just has zero side effects. It doesn't take much out of your day. It's just a little bit uncomfortable. But it gives us this like edge in being able to use our whole brain, being able to actually make a thoughtful choice about how we're going to parent instead of just like repeating the patterns of the past. And that to me is the key, is that I want to be able to choose how I want to respond.
And what I'm hearing from you is that it's not just the calming in the moment. It's not just that in the moment I'm meditating benefit, but it's the lasting benefits you get as you continue and practice meditation, that you start to see this calming of reactivity in times when you're not,
Yeah, I mean it's like building a muscle. It's like building a non-reactivity muscle. And sometimes I think like in the future we'll be like practicing this the way we now know that we want to build our muscle and go to the gym, and that's really taken for granted as important and accepted. But yeah, it's sometimes, a lot of times parents ask me like, oh, how do I pause or something like that? And that's a question I ask myself, right? Like, how do you pause? Like, it was always like step number one for every parenting coach when I was younger was like, first pause and then do blah, blah, blah. And I would be very frustrated with that because like, how the F do you pause? And it's really like you really have to practice these things that you want to grow in your life. Like what you practice grows stronger. So when you do a mindfulness practice, say you do a mindfulness meditation practice, where meditation is one of the ways we practice. It's like a gold standard for practicing mindfulness, right? Is that we sit still and we don't do anything else but pay attention to the present moment. And when we do this, it's like we're building this, the way I think of it as, what the people aren't really sure how it works, but what I think is that we sit there and all this stuff comes up in our head, thoughts, impulses, distractions, feelings, stuff from the past, all kinds of things. And we practice basically not reacting to it, right? We practice putting our attention instead on the present moment, maybe on our breath or on the sounds or something. And as we do that, it's this muscle of just being able to step back and take in what's happening. Because otherwise we're in autopilot. We're going, we're doing, right? Think about the rest of your day. You're going and doing. I'm going and doing all day too. So it's giving us that place to really practice just being present.